Having passed a joyful and trouble-free childhood, young Victor Frankenstein is about to enter the next phase of his life, university in Ingolstadt. Sadly, this rite of passage into adulthood is delayed by the first major tragedy of Victor's life. His beloved mother, Caroline, dies of scarlet fever after nursing his adopted sister, Elizabeth, through the same illness. On her deathbed, Caroline expresses her dying wish that Victor and Elizabeth will one day be married. Victor recalls how his mother's passing was a dark omen of his future misery. After several weeks of mourning, 17-year-old Victor finally embarks on his journey to Ingolstadt. The morning after he arrives, Victor goes to introduce himself to his teachers. First on the list is Professor Kremper. He's a short, rude, and repulsive-looking man who laughs at Victor for studying the ancient alchemists. Kremper tells Victor that he'll have to start his studies from scratch, gives him a list of more modern books to read, and dismisses Victor from his office. So much for a warm welcome to university. Hey team, just a reminder, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It really helps the channel out, and our next upload could be on something taught in your next class. Thanks, and back to the video. The next teacher Victor encounters is more his speed. He attends a lecture given by Professor M. Waldman and is inspired by his views on modern chemistry. Prior to this, Victor preferred the old alchemists he'd read about in childhood. But when he hears Waldman's uplifting words about the almost unlimited powers of modern scientists, Victor accepts his destiny. With Waldman's words ringing in his ears, Victor promises to use science to reveal the deepest mysteries of creation. That's quite a lofty ambition. What could possibly go wrong? The following day, Victor pays Professor Waldman a visit. Unlike Professor Kremper, Professor Waldman lends a kinder ear to Victor's youthful appreciation of the ancient scholars. Waldman acknowledges that while their theories have since been exploded, modern scientists still owe geniuses like Cornelius Agrippa, Albertus Magnus, and Paracelsus a debt of gratitude. Waldman's holistic view of science dispels Victor's aversion to modern chemistry and helps him reset his path towards knowledge. For the next 2 years, Victor hits the books pretty hard, often studying through the night. He doesn't even take a break to visit his family in Geneva. Eventually, Victor's studies take a darker turn when he poses the ultimate question. What causes things to live? And this is where things get icky. To understand the cause of life, Victor turns his attention to the nature of death. Victor ends up spending most of his time in churchyard vaults, studying how human bodies decay. His only living companions during this time are the worms that feed on the corpses he examines. Ew. We get the picture. But it's in the midst of this disgusting work that Victor has his sudden breakthrough. He finally discovers how to bring dead matter back to life. But if you think Victor's about to spill the details of this wild discovery, think again. He doesn't want us to dabble in the dark arts and unleash a zombie apocalypse. Remember, Victor's telling his tale as a warning to mankind, not a fun bedtime story. Armed with this profound new knowledge, 20-year-old Victor doesn't start small. He skips straight to creating a whole new human being. And since the work is a bit fiddly on a normal-sized human, he opts to make a gigantic 8-foot-tall man out of the various body parts he collects. Victor thinks that his creation will be beautiful. But things turn out a little differently. Over the coming months, Victor dedicates every waking moment to his gruesome project. Never mind that his family are probably worried sick by his prolonged silence. Never mind that it's summer outside and everyone else is out enjoying their lives. Not Victor. If he's not mucking about in graves or torturing animals, he's toiling in his filthy laboratory to construct his beautiful offspring. Victor becomes weak, pale and emaciated, but carries on with breathless eagerness to complete his project. Until finally, on a stormy November night, Victor achieves the impossible. With his creation fully assembled and ready, Victor delivers the jolt that brings it to life. Its limbs spasm violently as it opens one watery yellow eye. Victor is gripped with horror as he realises how hideous the thing is now that it's alive! He's endured 2 years of back-breaking, brain-melting labour for this. Victor rushes out of the room and collapses on his bed, only to be assaulted by nightmares in his restless sleep. At one point, Victor wakes to find the creature standing over him, reaching for him and trying to speak. Victor escapes his room and spends the remainder of the night in the building's courtyard, stewing in his horror and disappointment. At 6 a.m, Victor goes out into the streets of Ingolstadt, unsure of where he's headed and wary of encountering the creature. Eventually, Victor stops outside a popular inn and stares at an approaching Swiss stagecoach. And who should jump out of the coach? Victor's best buddy, Henry Clerval. What a happy coincidence! Clerval's father has finally allowed him to study in Ingolstadt, so it looks like he's here to stay. As the two friends walk back to Victor's college, Clerval finally realises what a wreck Victor is. Victor agrees, but only gives a vague explanation for the shocking state he's in. There's no way he's telling anyone about the events of the previous night. When they reach Victor's apartment, he asks Clerval to wait while he darts upstairs. Half expecting that the monster will still be inside, Victor throws the door open. But there's nothing there. The demon has fled. Phew! When Victor returns to his apartment with Clerval, Victor starts acting very strangely. His behaviour is so manic that Clerval starts to freak out and asks Victor what's really going on. But all Victor can do is cry out in terror, have a panic attack, and pass out. So instead of commencing his studies at university, poor Henry Clerval spends the next few months nursing Victor back to health. Knowing that the truth would seriously upset Elizabeth and Victor's ageing father, Clerval spares them the full details of Victor's condition. Meanwhile, Victor raves incessantly about the monster. At first, Clerval thinks Victor's just delirious, but he eventually recognises these ravings as evidence of a traumatic event. It's springtime before Victor makes a full recovery. He really owes Clerval for that one. But Clerval simply asks Victor to stay well and write a letter to his family back in Geneva. Victor is keen to perform this task, so Clerval presents him with a letter from Elizabeth. Will Elizabeth's letter contain good news or bad? And how will Victor react to it in his fragile condition? We hope you enjoyed this Schooling Online production. For more easy lessons, check out our other videos.